It was the kind of cold that finds its way through the door seals. The kind that makes the engine sound tired. That night, the snow wasn't just falling. It was erasing the world. I remember the ping from the app. A ride request. Simple. Just a set of coordinates. No address, no name. My thumb hovered over the accept button. Every instinct, sharpened by 1,000 late-night fares, screamed at me to let it go, to turn off the app and head home. I accepted it anyway, and that decision follows me. It sits in the passenger seat on quiet nights, a ghost made of memory and snow. That night felt different from the start. It wasn't just the storm, which was turning the roads outside Flagstaff into a white desert. It was the pickup point, an empty corner lot where a gas station used to be, now just a concrete slab under a blanket of fresh powder. The air inside my Toyota Camry was warm, but a chill was already crawling up my spine. This was the kind of ride you hear about from other drivers. The ones that start with a weird feeling and end with you questioning everything. A story you tell yourself couldn't happen to you. Until it does. The headlights cut a weak path through the swirling snow. For 10 minutes, I waited. The only sound was the rhythmic slap of the windshield wipers and the low hum of the heater. I was about to cancel when a figure emerged from the darkness. Tall, silhouetted against the white. He moved slowly, deliberately, each step leaving a deep impression in the snow. He opened the back door without a word and slid in. The dome light revealed nothing more than a dark coat, a winter hat pulled low, and shoulders dusted with snow. The door closed, and the silence that filled the car was heavier than the storm outside. I cleared my throat. "Got you headed up the mountain?" "Looks like," I said, trying to sound casual. No response. Just the quiet hiss of his breath fogging in the cold air. I put the car in drive and pulled away from the concrete slab. The GPS showed a winding blue line climbing into the blackness of the mountains. We drove for maybe 20 minutes. The city lights of Flagstaff vanished behind us, swallowed by the storm. Out here, there were no streetlights, no houses, just the endless walls of pine trees closing in on either side of the road. The snow was getting deeper. I could feel the tires fighting for grip on the asphalt underneath. The passenger hadn't moved, hadn't made a sound. I glanced in the rearview mirror. His eyes were fixed on the road ahead, unblinking. "You sure this is the right way?" I asked, my voice sounding small. "The GPS is starting to act up." A long pause, then a low voice from the back seat. "Just keep driving. It's close." The calm in his voice was more unsettling than the storm. "Here's where it gets darker." The GPS screen flickered. The blue line disappeared, then reappeared, rerouting me onto a smaller, unpaved service road I'd never seen before. The app chirped. "Route updated." My gut tightened. This wasn't a county road. This was barely a trail. "Hey man," I said, my hands gripping the wheel. "This can't be right. My car's not gonna make it much further in this." The silence returned. I could feel his stare in the rearview mirror, even though I couldn't see his eyes. The feeling of being watched was overwhelming. The air grew thick. The only sound was the engine straining as the tires spun in the deep snow. I was about to stop the car, to tell him this was as far as I could go. But that wasn't the strangest part. Just as I opened my mouth to speak, he leaned forward slightly. The scent of wet pine and cold earth filled the car. "It's right there," he whispered. And then I saw it, through a gap in the trees. A single, weak light. A porch light, barely visible through the blizzard, attached to a small, dark shape. A cabin. It stood alone, buried in the woods, looking like it had been there for 100 years. There were no other lights, no other buildings. The GPS on my phone was now just a blank, gray screen with a single blue dot pulsing in the middle of nowhere. No roads, no signal. I pulled the car as close to the cabin as I dared, the headlights illuminating a small, snow-covered porch. The silence felt absolute, broken only by the howling wind. This is where I almost turned the car around. I stopped the car, the engine idling. I expected him to just get out, but he didn't. He just sat there. Seconds stretched into a minute. "All right," I finally said, trying to keep my voice steady. "This is it." He still didn't move. What he told me next still keeps me awake. He leaned forward again, so close I could feel the cold radiating from his coat. His voice was barely a whisper, a dry rustle of leaves. "Turn the engine off," he said. I froze. "What?" "Turn it off," he repeated, his tone flat, without emotion. "And the headlights. Don't leave them on." Every alarm in my head was screaming. Why would he have us stuck in a dead car, in total darkness, miles from anywhere, during a blizzard? I was hesitant. His hand rested for a moment on the back of my seat. I couldn't see it, but I totally felt it. The pressure was light, just enough to make me reach for the ignition and turn the key. The engine died. The headlights went out. We were plunged into absolute blackness. The world disappeared. There was only the sound of the wind, the creak of the car settling in the cold, and our breathing. I realized then he wasn't telling me everything. The back door opened, letting in a swirl of snow and frigid air. It closed with a soft click. I sat there, paralyzed, my heart hammering against my ribs. I didn't dare turn to look. I just stared forward into the impenetrable dark where the cabin should be. I saw the faint porch light go out. Now there was nothing. Just blackness and silence. A silence so deep it felt like a physical weight. I waited. I don't know for how long. It could have been a minute or an hour. Finally, my training kicked in. Get out. Just go. My hand trembled as I turned the key. The engine sputtered, then caught. I slammed the gear shift into reverse, not caring about the trail. I just needed to go back the way I came. I glanced at the GPS screen, praying for a signal, for a line, for anything. It was still blank. I looked out the back window. The road was gone. My Tita tracks, my path back to safety, had been completely erased by the snow. It was as if I had never driven down it at all. That's when the night stopped, feeling like a ride, and started feeling like a trap. I managed to get the car turned around, my headlights cutting a frantic path through the trees. I slammed the gas. The Camry skidded and swerved, but I kept my foot down, hoping I was going the right way. Every shadow looked like a figure standing at the edge of the woods. Every crack of a frozen branch sounded like a footstep behind me. The feeling of being watched was more intense than ever. It felt like the entire forest, the entire night, had its eyes on me. I didn't look in the rearview mirror again. I was too afraid of what I might see sitting in the back seat. After what felt like an eternity, I saw the faint glow of a streetlight through the trees. I hit the paved road and didn't slow down until the lights of Flagstaff were a comforting glow on the horizon. I never reported it. What would I say? That I drove a silent man to a cabin that may or may not exist? That the snow covered my tracks in minutes? They'd think I was crazy. Sometimes I think I am. I don't drive in the snow anymore, and on cold, quiet nights, when the wind howls just right, I can still hear that whisper. Turn the engine off. If this felt too real, say something below. The night is full of stories.